Hello students and welcome to the lecture on Delta Learning Rule, the 13th lecture in the lecture series for the course of Artificial Neural Networks for Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering students of the 7th semester, Goa College of Engineering. I am Ms. Purti Savardekar, the faculty in charge for this course. In the last lecture, we studied the historically important perceptron learning rule. In perceptron learning rule, our main goal was to achieve a linear separation of input patterns by trying to correct the error between the desired output and the neural output that occurred on an input that was misclassified. The restriction in the perceptron learning rule was that the desired output in the training set had to be binary. This was because the activation function that we used in the perceptron learning rule was the signum activation function, which is a binary function. We now wish to remove this two-valued desired output and activation function restriction to allow the desired output to vary smoothly or continuously over an interval. We simply change the activation function from signum to the sigmoidal activation function. Because of this, the desired value may not be restricted to binary anymore. Similarly, the output of the neuron will not be restricted to binary values. This obviously has an effect on the difference between the desired output and the neural output. In the perceptron learning rule, the error could have either a 0 value or a +2 value or a -2 value for the bipolar neurons. But now here, the error can have any continuous value. Now, rather than using a simple error function di minus oi, a more suitable error function is the mean square error function. It is given as xi equals half of di minus f of wi transpose xi the whole square, where xi is the mean squared error. Di is the training set desired value corresponding to the input xi. F is the continuous activation function like sigmoidal, and wi are the weights of the ith neuron. For one-dimensional patterns, there is only one feature, only one input to the neuron, and correspondingly one weight. With sigmoidal activation function and continuous value for the mean squared error, the error may look like this. The error varies as the weights get updated. For two-dimensional patterns, you can visualize the error as an error surface like this. For a certain value of weights, the error will have a certain value. For certain other values of weights, the error may become larger or smaller. Our job is to find those optimum weights that give the least error. So, the major changes that we have introduced now are, firstly, the activation function of the neuron, and secondly, the new error function, the mean squared error function, that will help in obtaining the weight update equation for the delta learning rule. So, how do we obtain the weight update equation now? Consider this error surface. If we wish to find the optimum weights, we have to find the location on the error surface that gives the minimum error, least mean squared error. This is the reason why the delta learning rule is also known as least mean square or the LMS learning rule, LMS. Our job is to move from some value of xi towards the least value of xi minimum. We need to go down the error surface along the slope, downwards along the slope. We need to have an operator that will give us the direction of the correction of weights and the value of the correction of weights. Value of the correction of weights should be based on the slope at the point of the error surface. This is high value of slope. This here is a smaller value of slope. This is smaller, and this is the least value of slope, which is equal to 0. We want to reach the minimum value of error on the error surface. That is where the slope becomes equal to 0. The value of mean square error is xi minimum, and the corresponding weights are the optimal weights. We want to go from the current value, say here, to the minimum value, xi minimum. We need the direction and the slope to perform this incremental updates to achieve this. To do this, we use the gradient operator written as delta. That is why the name is delta learning rule. So what is the gradient operator? Geometrically, the gradient operator is the slope of the tangent at any point. Slope of the tangent. The slope. Mathematically, it is the partial derivative with respect to the weight that is being optimized. Partial derivative with respect to the weight that is being optimized. The gradient operator also gives the direction. The direction is always pointing upwards, up the slope. But we need to move down the slope. To go down the slope, we need to operate the error with negative gradient operator. The negative gradient operator. Let us do that. Let us consider this neuron model. This is the ith neuron. It has capital J number of inputs. Its input X is written as Xj because it is the output coming from the jth neuron. The weight between the jth presynaptic neuron and the ith postsynaptic neuron is written as Wij. Yes, Wij. The output of the ith neuron is given as f of net I. The mean square error xi is given as xi equals half of di minus f of net I, the whole square. If you want to apply the gradient operator to the error, means you want to find out its partial derivative with respect to, look at the graph, the derivative is with respect to the weights. Therefore, it becomes delta xi equal to dou xi by dou wij. We differentiate the xi expression with respect to wij because we are trying to find the xi minimum with respect to the weights. In this case, our weight is wij. So, delta xi becomes equal to dou half of di minus f of net I, the whole square. Let's apply the chain rule now. Delta xi becomes equal to dou half of twice di minus f of net I into dou di minus f of net I by dou wij using the chain rule. Delta xi is equal to half of 2 times di minus f of net I into dou di minus f of net I by dou wij, which is the same as delta xi equals minus di minus f of net I into dou f of net I by dou wij. This can be written as minus di minus f of net I into f dash of net I into dou net I by dou wij. The chain rule. We know that net I is equal to x1 into wi1 plus x2 into wi2 and so on. Partial derivative of this with respect to wij will lead to all the terms equal to 0 except this term, which will give xj as the result of differentiation. Therefore, delta xi is equal to minus di minus f of net into f dash of net I into xj. This is the final expression for delta xi, the gradient of mean squared error. We want the negative of this, which represents the downward direction that is required. So, minus delta xi is equal to di minus f of net into f dash of net I into xj. Our weight change is directly proportional to this minus delta xi. Therefore, the weight update equation for the delta learning rule becomes delta wij, the change in the weights, delta wij equals di minus f of net I into f dash of net I into xj. Now for the entire weight vector, the equation becomes delta wi, delta capital Wi equals c into di minus f of net I into f dash of net I into capital X, the entire input pattern matrix, where delta wi is the change to be made to the weight vector, c is the learning constant, di is the desired output given in the training set corresponding to the input x, f of net is the continuous activation function applied to the net value, f dash of net I is the differentiation of the activation function. This is the final delta learning rule. Notice that the expression involves the first derivative of the activation function. Now, let us obtain the expressions for f dash of net, f dash of net I. When the activation function is firstly a unipolar sigmoidal activation function and secondly a bipolar sigmoidal activation function. Let us first consider the unipolar sigmoidal activation function. F of net I is given as f of net I equals 1 upon 1 plus e raised to minus lambda net I, which can be written as 1 plus e raised to minus lambda net I, the whole raised to minus 1. The derivative of this with respect to net I, minus 1 into e raised to minus lambda net I upon minus lambda into 1 upon 1 plus e raised to minus lambda net I, the whole square. Now let us assume that lambda is equal to 1. Then the expression becomes e raised to minus net I upon 1 plus e raised to minus net I, the whole square. At this point, I will introduce a tiny manipulation to get the expression into a more distinct form. Let us add and subtract 1 from the numerator. So it becomes 1 plus e raised to minus net I minus 1. Now I separate the numerator and also the denominator like this. 1 upon 1 plus e raised to minus net I multiplied by 1 plus e raised to minus net I upon 1 plus e raised to minus net I minus 1 upon 1 plus e raised to minus net I. Please make sure that you have understood this step. We have just separated the denominator and inside the brackets we have separated the numerator. Now we realize that 1 upon 1 plus e raised to minus net I is the original expression for f of net I. That means the equation is f of net I equals f of net I into 1 minus f of net I. If we denote f of net I as OI, we can write it as OI dash equals OI into 1 minus OI. That's the final expression for the derivative of unipolar sigmoidal activation function. Let us now consider the bipolar sigmoidal activation function. I would like to reframe the question here and throw it at you. Prove that for bipolar sigmoidal activation function, OI dash equals half of 1 minus OI squared. Let us verify this proof and solve an example problem using Delta Learning Rule in the live Google Meet. See you there. Thank you.